What's going on, my good people? Welcome back to Play to Win with More Than a Coach. Mike Holmes here, where I focus on scholarship over emotionalism when dealing with each aspect of life. And today, I'm going to switch things up, and I'm going to share with you all, my journey into poetry, which is hence my hashtag poet, not a pastor. And so, like, just to get right into it, it was around 2012 when I started to write poetry, to get into it, uh, making a conscious decision. And, during that time, I began to go to, open mics because, at first I was just writing, you writing this stuff out. And then the first step I had to do was like, man, realize that these are my thoughts, when you're writing about certain things, these are my thoughts. And this is how I feel about certain things. And so the next step was, getting out there and sharing it with people, sharing it with the world. And so, I began to go to open mics, and had to build up that courage, that confidence in yourself to get up there on the microphone and in front of a room full of people and, to share your thoughts. So it was one of those, it was a challenging thing at the time just to get beyond that. So next, I had, people that were doing music. So, they would go and record their music and, and I would go. So I was like, man, that'd be nice. I had the idea like to be able to, go and record my poetry, like put some music behind it, and things like that. So, I began to do that. And so this was around 2014. And this is pretty much the reason I really want to, share this story because, like I say, this is a time like it's in my infancy, like learning about poetry, getting the confidence to do that. And so, around this time, I was going to go get a recorder. I had, family member at the time that was recording music. And so he had a person that he was going to go and record his music. So, I was going with him, seeing how the process worked, and, and that kind of thing. And so, I talked to the guy that had the in-home studio, and I was like, man, I would like for you to record my poems. I would like to do that, And so eventually, we set it up, and this was like 2014, right? Like I said, I started in like 2012 writing, you know, um, learning more about, getting more familiar with myself, my thoughts, and just the whole process of, writing and then sharing it with people. Like say, then being able to go to open mics, build that confidence to get up there on the microphone, work out the jitters, work out the little fear or whatever. And so, but I did want to share my, I did want to record it, make like a poetry album or whatever, put some music behind it and stuff like that. That's what I wanted to do. That was the idea, that was the goal. So, here we are. Now it's like 2 years later, it's 2014. Like I said, I'm at this guy's studio. So I'm actually, recording like my first few poems that I wrote. He had got some little music put behind it. So, I get in the, you know, I get in the, I get in the booth, record the poem. Um, and, as I'm doing this, and the point I want y'all to see, like I say, this in the beginning, like, this is something that I've grew into now, but like this was in the beginning stages. And so, I'm recording, in the studio, I say my poem. And so after I get through with my poem, his wife is there. His wife is there listening to me record my poem. She's listening to it. And like soon as I step out of the booth of recording, like instantly she attacks me about something that I said in one of my poems, which, it kind of threw me off because I'm like, what I'm saying? And then this lady was an artist too. She did music as well. So it was like, it threw me for a loop. Like, why are you so caught up or why are you tripping off something I said in my poetry or in my artistry? It's like you attacking me right soon. I couldn't even get out the booth. You know what I'm saying? It was something about it was a line I said about, Jesus or whatever, what I'm saying? So I think I said something about like a European Jesus. But like these are my thoughts. This is my poetry, this is what I want to share. And like I say, these are my thoughts, like it has nothing to do with anybody else. And so, with that being said, I got done with that session. And so, I was setting up another session. I was just like, well, I wanted to get it done. And like, and so from that point on, I was never able to go back and record at this man's home studio. Like every time I would call, he said it was cool, but every time I would call, his wife would answer the phone and be like, "Oh, he'll call you back," or "He'll do this." So, either she didn't give him the message or she did, he just didn't call me back, which, like I say, that's, in my opinion, that's unprofessional. Like this, I'm paying you for this. This is money. How are you getting so caught up in what someone is doing? And it's like, I'm not being destructive. I'm not doing anything. I'm just, voicing my opinions, I'm sharing my artistry. And so like this lady would always answer the phone and be like, "I'll let him know, he'll call you back." And that was in 2014. And here it is 2025. I've never received that phone call back to be able to come back and, record my poetry, something that I enjoy doing now, and something that I was learning how to do. And that's very vital, man, how sometimes people like, I don't really know what was going on with her or whatever, but like it could have been very detrimental to something I did if I would have allowed that to, or if it was someone that, didn't have the capabilities to just stick it out, to go through certain adversities or whatever, but it basically could have killed something that I enjoy doing, something that people have enjoyed me sharing my artistry with. So it could have been someone in their infant stages as well, and it could have like killed someone's gift, or it could have shut down someone's gift or deterred them from doing that, man. That's why it's so important when someone is doing something. Like, man, you can hold your personal opinions to yourself if it's not encouraging or things of that matter. Keep it to yourself. It's very, it's a thin line with that. And I just want to share that. So, at this time, I was like, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to learn how to record myself. That way I don't have to worry about that. Even if I do go to another studio, I can record myself. I have control over that. So then I had to go and learn that process. So that was 2014. So around 2016, what I'm saying, I ended up, getting with a friend, a good friend now. And he taught me, he gave me what I needed. He gave me the information that I needed, and he taught me how to record myself. Uh, and while I'm on that point, I just put out a project, like I say, for National Poetry Month. I put it on my social media, titled "The Renaissance Man." Go check it out. But like I say, I'll get to him real quick. Like, so he taught me how to record myself. And his words were like, what I'm saying? He's like, "Man, I could record you, but it's like I could just teach you how to record yourself, and that'll save you time and money, and like I could do that, I could take your money and do all that, but what I'm saying, he had it in his heart to teach me how to record myself, which I'm grateful for. And while I'm saying that, like the project I did that whole thing on my own. So like I say, from 2014, life was happening, but I had to do some things, but I ended up, like I say, in 2016, just 2 years later, I ended up recording myself. And now here it is, 2025, I recorded a whole project. I recorded other things before that. But what I want you all to know and go check it out is that I did this whole project by myself by, a good friend of mine showing me and teaching me, and giving me, giving me the tools that I needed to be able to record myself. Like I said, the project it's titled Renaissance Man. It's on YouTube. It's on my social media. Go check it out. And I did everything myself. I wrote, I wrote the poems. I made the beats on there. And I put it all, and I recorded it. I mixed it, I recorded, I did everything on my own. And I learned how to do that because a friend, decided to share some information with me and help me through the process of doing that. Uh, and that's pretty much my story. That's what I wanted to share. So like I'm saying, I'm a poet, not a pastor. And then to get into the other part, like I say, it was maybe around like 2005. I had got off into like religion around 2003. But then around 2005, I was going to church. But like I said, I realized that's not what I am. I had the gift to communicate. I had the gift to all that. But my gift is poetry. I'm not a pastor. Even though I learned the Bible, I learned it very well. I'm very fluent in that. But that is not what I was created to do. But the main thing is like, what I'm saying, I'm a poet. I'm not a pastor, even though you may hear me talking about referencing the Bible here and there or giving some messages. I am not a pastor. I have no desire to be a pastor. Like I say, that's not what I was created to do. I am a poet, you know what I'm saying? I just wanted to share that. And then while I'm doing this, like I told my, if you see my t-shirt here, you know what I'm saying? I love it, you know what I'm saying? It's real nice, feels real good. Uh, like I was saying, I want to give a few shout outs before I get out of here. The first one is to my guy, is Uncle Al's Graphics and Tees, and also he has Fresh Forever University. He made the shirt for me. As you see, Poet Not a Pastor feels very good. You know, he does great work. And also, the other shout out that I want to get is to she's on TikTok as Vanilla Have Chocolate. She has a course titled Biracial Beginnings. It's very enlightening. It's very informative, and it's very beneficial. Uh, Giving you an understanding of some things that biracial individuals deal with on a daily basis, as what you know what I'm saying, individually, also socially, you know what I'm saying. So that opens up a window that'll help you communicate, you know what I'm saying, if you're interacting with someone that's biracial or mixed, you know what I'm saying? And also it helps you gain compassion and empathy. Like just from my point of view, you know what I'm saying, of going through the course and learning that kind of stuff, like I said, it gives me another point of view uh, and understanding. Like I say, that course is very, I believe it's very beneficial. Like I said, open up doors for rooms for communication about certain things. uh, you know, that's why I admonish you all to go check it out. And like I say, that is Vanilla Have Chocolate on TikTok. Like I'll post a picture so you can see her image on there. You know, go and check that out. And once again, that's Uncle Al's Graphics and Tees. You know, I just wanted to get those shouts out before I got out of here. And like I always, like my videos, share my videos, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. You know, I appreciate you all for watching. Peace and play to win.